Hello everyone, my name is Paul. Welcome on the research and development video update number 7. Please subscribe to my channel if you are new here, and I'll be glad for every like I will get from you. There will be more research and development video updates and live stream events, but this one is the last one about the Gene 2.1. The good news is that all work was done and software is finished and ready to be published, and you can get it in advance before it will be published on eBay, or if you do the order to my email, you can get it in advance on Patreon, where you join me and become my patron and join the first tier, join tier the $2 per month, and you will get the standard version Gene 2.1, or you can join the tier the $10 per month, where you will get the unique golden edition. The advantage in both cases is that you do not need to pay the whole cost for the software, and it gives you the opportunity to have it directly right now. So join me on Patreon, select one of these two tiers, and you will get the Gene today or tomorrow or later, so in advance before it will be on eBay. Before I show the final shape of the Gene and user guide, I will summarize something I already said during the previous research and development live streams. Therefore, I will show one of the presentations. So let me look when the Gene is started. Then there is created the final settings, and after that it's called the procedure genome, are the random number generated, and there is done the evaluation and printing. So it's in the infinite loop. The new function is called rating, and this is the part of the Gene 2.1 software, and the rating should be calculated for every number of hits. So it looks like that we select the method, and based on the matches in the first and second row, we have to calculate some value. And nowadays we have the average speed about 15,000 cycles per second, and if we included this rating method, it was reduced only to 3,000 cycles, which was not good. It's not really good. And we have now 6 methods we have to calculate, as we have today just normal value or x squared, where is the if we have number of hits 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So for each is the exponential, factorial, and x powered by x, and finally the evaluation and rating by probability. For each method, rating is different calculation, and the most difficult calculation is for the probability. And then I did different change. As we have this, I realized that the value for rating is always the same, that we can have during the generation always, for example, 5 hits, and the 5 hits according to the selected method will have exact value. So what I did is that I moved these rating calculations into the setting procedure, that it's out of the infinite loop. And then if we select, for example, calculating by probability, then we already know the values that are calculated in the beginning, and when we get the number of hits during the generation, then we have just very simple procedure, and it's called picking, and based on the hits in the first and second row, we will select the desired value. For example, if we have 3 hits in the first row and 1 hit in the second row, then we have this value according to the rating by probability. And it means that there is no needed calculation, and we keep the same speed like we have it in the Gene 2.0. Finally, we have 5 methods that are independent from amount of balls in the drawing machine, and the 6th last one is dependent on the ball of drawing machines. It means if we have in the drawing machine 30 balls, there will be always the same rating value. For example, 5 hits will be still the same, but if we select the rating by probability, then the value is changed. So the rating by probability is most accurate and most recommended to use. So that's what I wanted to summarize. And finally, we have today the rating by average. It means by the value. If we have 5 hits, then the value is 5, and this is the most smooth method. And as we go to the right, we are getting to much harder method, and this one is the hardest one by the probability, and it's ordered in Gene as well. So when you are taking from the upper one is the softer, and the lower one are harder, and these one are the middle ones. Now let me show the Gene in its final form. So we have the Gene 2.1 file and the user guide Gene 2.1. So I will open it, insert the password, everything looks almost the same like in the Gene 2.0. We have different logo, and there is the new rating box. I will just select, and we will select one of the simplest games. It's pick 2, and now we can select the rating. There are 6 methods. The first 6 are there are the values with absolute values here, and the other 6 are the same. You will get also the same results, the same rating, but the values are represented and displayed in percentage. And it's more than clear and understandable, because we can realize if we have the maximum amount of hits, for example 5 or 5 hits, then it's equal to 100%, and if we have only 1 hit, then it's equal to 20%, 1/5 of 100. So then it's more readable for us, because if you see here, if you have 1 hit, you don't know exactly what does it mean, and in other selected methods you can have value, for example 2000, and you don't know what it is. So when it's recalculated to percentage, then you see that it's only 2% or 5% or less than 1%. So it's more accurate, and it's you can get better idea about this. I will select one of them. Today in the Gene 2.0 we have actually this one. This is rating by average, but just the value that it's not changed at all, and it's expressed with percentage. Today I will select, for example, the factorial, and let's create the settings. I worked with these rating methods in the previous research and development video update number 6. So if you want to see more everything in detail and all the rating methods and their comparison, please watch the previous research and development video update number 6. Now I just will show how it works, that we select the rating method, and when are the output boxes printed, I will just fill the input box with random number, and to show how you can read the results. So let's put here some numbers: 1, 2, 5, 6, 3, 4, and start. So it's running. We can make it a little bit more quicker. Let's see what speed we can get. And as I mentioned and presented, we are still keeping very high speed, even we included new procedure that is more sophisticated and complex. So as the live stream is running, we got about 14,000 cycles per second. So that's really still really high speed. And I will end it just to click compare, and you see we got the selected method, and in the output boxes you see here is the x factorial in percentage, so there is always marked what method you selected. And when we go down, so the x factorial, it is if you have 2 hits, that's the maximum you can have, is equal to 100%. If you have 1 hit, that's equal 50%. And here you see exactly how it's recalculated. If there is 0 hits, it's equal 50% here. So we got this 83%, and this is like we see it here. We have 1 or 0 hits is always 15%, and it's recalculated the factorial. So this is how it works, how it's evaluated, and it's different score, but the pick 2 has very small possibilities, only if you hit the number 1 or not hit. Yeah, that's difference between 0, 50 and 100. There is nothing more, but in more complex and difficult lotteries you will see much different values, and you can see them also in the previous video, tutorial number 6, not tutorial but research and development video update. So this is how it works, and finally I will show the updated user guide, where we can go. So if we go to introduction, there is new chapter, what's new. So there is described the rating, and in fact there are basically, or I wanted to distinguish 2 different situations. If you have 3 hits in one draw, is it the same if you have just 1 hit in each individual draw? And today in the Gene 2.0 is the same value. The average is always 3 divided by 3 is 1, or 3 divided by 3 is 1. But when you select the rating method, is not 1 anymore, it's changing. It's actually, we are giving more values if you have more hits in one drawing day, because it's more difficult this situation than this one. And when we go to functions, we have here the 4.5 chapter 4.5 rating. This is here, and there are described all the rating methods. So we will start with the by average, what we have today, and you have values. For example, 1 hit has value 1, 2 hits has value 2, and so on, and recalculated percentage is 20, 40, 60, and there is the whole average percentage. So you can have in absolute values, as I shown, you can have value 2, which you don't know exactly what does it mean, or you can have value 40. These both are the same, but the representation is different. There are always the formula that are used to calculate the value for selected rating. Here is different situation, that if you have value 2 in square, then the added value is 4. or number of hits 2 equals to value 4, and so on. And the same scenario, and we had 24%. Here again I use the formulas to calculate the value and the average. Then there is the exponential, again formulas, an example with the formulas, then the factorial, also the formulas used, and the example again, and x powered by x, again the formulas and example. Just if you watch the first research and development video update, you will see how I everything calculated on paper. Finally, the sixth method, and this is dependent on the amount of balls in the drawing machine, so there is also included the amount of balls in drawing machine, and the formulas with combinations are much more complex here, and everything like this you see here is included in the gene. There is the matrix of variations. Based on this, the value is selected based on the hits in the first and second row. So you can see here the example where you have the absolute value and that it's equal to the percentage value. So this is different. For example, you have absolute value, some whole number, and it's equal to 100%, and value 2.2 is less, much more less than 1%. So for every combination of hits you have the probability, and the probability value 1 from something is recalculated to percentage. Finally, there are the formulas, and finally the last chapter, new one, is the comparison, where you can see the differences between selected method. You can see that we have the method by average, by the single value. You get value in the same scenario case, just value 2, but if you select this probability, you get value more than 400. And if you recalculate it to percentage, in the first is that it's something you got 40% of hits, but using the probability that is much more harder, you got less than 1%. So you see the difference, and based on this you can select the rating method, and these harder rating methods allows you to keep ways with much more peaks where are more hits in the single drawing day. So you see from the soft to the hard. And here I will end this live stream. Again, before, let's say, before I finish, just as I said, if you join now the tier $2 per month, you will get the Gene 2.1 in advance before it will be on eBay, or I can send it by email, or you can support and join the tier $10 per tier, and you can get the golden edition right now without needing to pay the whole cost right now. So this is the challenge and opportunity for you, and that's all for today. I'm at the end, and thank you for watching, your attention and support. If you missed something, just replay it. Please subscribe to my channel if you are new here. Provide your comments, feedback, and I'll be glad for every like I will get from you. Join us on the Facebook page and groups. You can support me via Patreon like you see here, or via PayPal me. The links are in the description of this video. Next time there will be a few necessary video tutorials just for the Gene 2.1 version, and I plan at least to release one live stream before Christmas, just to greet and say hello before Christmas and to have some relaxed day. So there is a lot of stuff coming in future still, and that's why stay tuned, and until that, have a great time.